Hello and welcome to Dell's Gaming. I'm Dell and this is from the Depths Designer, and we're just in here before we go back into the campaign to have a look at an idea or a ship I'd been thinking about after the carrier fleet had been doing its fights. Something we're missing in the air fleet at the moment is a gunship. I think I may have said about it previously at some point, but we're looking for something which is a bit more cannon armed rather than missiles. We've got a lot of bombers and missiles being delivered on target, but what we need is some good old Daka, just to on some of these ships. So something with a nice large snipery type of gun, and then some basic machine gun fire. I'm thinking at the moment of one of possible two designs. One, the options really are have something which circles the target and just fires into the centre, just constantly giving fire. Think of your AC-30 gunship style thing that will just circle at a particular range, hopefully. That would be the aim. And just uses side firing guns to broadside in to the target, firing a lot of guns basically. Now the guns could be turret mounted or just out the side, or possibly slung underneath or on top, etc. Possibly side. The other idea, that's one style which is interesting and has certain good interesting benefits. The other option is to have something which is more traditional aircraft, in that it comes in, attacks fairly straight, shoots its guns as it's diving down on the target, and then goes off, reloads, comes back. So we've got two styles. One is a sustained gunfire, which might actually be more suitable for a slightly larger ship, or the dive-in attack, which we could use one of the existing ships and just rework it a little bit, which would make it a little easier. Now, the one I'm thinking of at the moment, one of the designs I do like and does need just a little bit of reworking, would be the Sea Harrier. I like the VTOL design of the engines. That's quite nice and nifty. It's got the guns out the side. If we just go and have a look at it, let's just load one in. So if I load in a Sea Harrier, I'll get in the chair for it. It'll be easier. So basically at the start the engines point up and then they swap over and point the opposite direction, and that gives it also its good water start system, and then it goes up to its cruising height. And armaments wise, we've got the two cannons at the moment, which are, to be honest, a bit slow firing. They're more slow firing, slightly accurate high penetration, and missiles. So one simple one would be to change these guns and put something in the centre, but that's far too easy. It'd be much easier to start with something new, I think. But yeah, I like the VTOL idea. Now this ship could be, there's nothing wrong to say it's going to be a bit bigger. The other question is about whether we have it as a circling or diving. If we just bring in a marauder just to show how this one works, this one sort of dives in on an attack. Where's that marauder gone? Not sure where the marauder is. I'm sure it must be going for an attack on it at some point. Oh, it's just over this ridge here somewhere. Unusual place for it to be, but you'll see that this will sort of do a slightly more traditional attack. Basically, the aerial AI only really has one type of attack method, and that's this diving style of attack. gets up to its height, comes in at a certain point, it will try to dive in just there until you reach the diving point. And there it goes, fires its weapons, the guns will come in range, and now it's firing its guns. So, nice and effective, it does work. It's not massive amounts. I'm thinking that I would like to make that gunner fire a lot quicker. But it does damage and does take out marauders, and there we go, it's taking an AI out in one go. Now, options are strip this down, take everything off, and rework it. We'll have a look at the design. We've got an engine in there. It doesn't rely on shielding at the moment. It is more, it was intended to be a relatively cheap vehicle. As we can see, 750. We tried to keep it under 1,000 blocks for all of our carrier aircraft. And I'll try and do the same again, keep it under 1,000. But we may put some, say, guns. Now we could do a similar build, change it a little bit, but basically build it around a central gun platform. Yeah, I think that might be a good idea. Let's build it around the gun. So it's going to be like a C version of an A10. I'm getting. Yeah, I think we're going to go for a diving plane rather than going for a circling gunship. We might go for a diving plane. So okay, let me just get back and to our starting point so we can start building a ship. Okay, so let's start with the basics. Let's do the good old new object vehicle. Get that magic block started and get it up in the air. Okay, now we're going to need its main protection is going to be blocks rather than being shielding. I think will be the primary for this. We're coming off here. I know some people like to use the key method. That's right, for this part it does make sense. I'm not a fan of the key. I do like using this system. Okay, so let's start with that as a baseline. We're going to have to move. Got to allow this to be a little wider. There we go. Right, we're going to have to allow that the VTOL system we might look at a slightly different VTOL system, similar to what we had before, but maybe more mounted on the side. So it may be a bit more exposed than we had previously, but a little bit less problem with compact. Sorry, this little more space in the centre. The one we had at the moment has a lot of issues. It takes a lot of space up. Oh, excuse me, I do apologise. Right, let's start with the basics. So what we're going to do is have a nice big gun coming out the front. So we're going to start with the cannon, I think, and everything is going to be just here, and then we're going to have the 6-way connectors, something like that, going back through the centre. Firing piece, then we're going to add some barrels in, an elevation barrel. Now we're going to try and keep this to about 80 degree so that it can have the best chance of hitting a target as it's coming through. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say a 10 barrel. Let's see how that looks. And put some recoil suppression on here. Let's just check that 80 is 80 degrees. Yep, that's 80. I put one more on there just to check that I can't go to anything more. I could make it 45, but we'll leave it at 80. So that's there. Let's take that one off there just before I forget. Right, we are facing forward. Right, now we're going to have we'll have a predictor on it. Why not? We'll see what it's doing. But we're going to have some gauge on this. That's going to be one of its primary. It will be a fairly large caliber gun. Is that going to be too much? The only problem with a large caliber gun is that A, you've got a problem with the reload time, just getting that reload time up, but also it's just going to take a long time to move when it's coming in, so the vehicle's got to be more stable. We'll go with that for the moment, and the inaccuracy might be a problem at the moment. Inaccuracy 1.92. Let's give it some more barrels. And 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're going to a 14 barrel gun. So that's got an inaccuracy of 1.12. And in actual fact, taking gauge off has made it more inaccurate, which would be wrong way round in my book. Theoretically, the higher the gauge, the more inaccuracy you would get. Normally, because of unless you increase the velocity. So, okay, we'll go with this for the moment. We can always increase once we've had a look at it. 1.12. We'll see how that goes. Now, the other side is I want to get this doing a fair old fire rate. We'll see how we can get this up, and obviously also have a fair bit of ammo storage. So what we'll do is we'll put lots of ammo boxes on here first of all, because that will see what rate we get up to. 0.41. Let's put some on the top. Right, what are we up to? We are up to 0.32. So that's 3 a second with some quite large ones. That's not too bad. And so we'll put some armor piercing in. If we put 3 armor piercing, what does that get us up to? 7.7. We can go a bit better than that. 9.5. Okay, that there gives us the 10. Okay, that's the 10. That's not too bad. Now we need some HE, which we'll just put straight on the back here. So that's giving us a quite not too bad. It's going to have some explosive damage, but some good kinetic and good reload. It's only got a 22 azimuth, so when it's going to have to come in fairly straight when it's flying in general. Okay, but that's now the main gun, which is already, you know, not too bad. That's okay. That's okay. Now I have the AI in the back. That's taken up a lot of the space. And the one bit we haven't put in here at the moment is where does the fire control have to go for this? We haven't put in the fire controller. That's going to have to go here near the firing piece. So AI local weapon controller. If I put that there, you should get one weapon. Yeah, let's just make sure that's correct. If I put it here, it won't get a weapon. Yeah, so it's got to go here. Now we can simply put its own AI here. That might be easier, because I might have to do. So it's got its own AI there. It hasn't got to worry about anything else, we can just set the AI here. We won't worry about the target. It's going to go for whatever's in front of it, basically. If there's something in front of it, this will shoot it. It's going to go for generally big targets anyway. So this is like a flying gun. Fairly high fire rate. Let's see, ammo box is 3 of 60 and it's using ammo use 32, so it's going to get about 1200 shots in before it needs reloading, and then it has to reload if my thing, so that's 1200, so that's quite a few seconds of fire actually. That's not too bad, that's reasonable. Okay, stage 2 or part 2 is I'd like to have some just machine gun defensive weapons. Now my thoughts here are either the side mounted turrets again, like we had previously, so one either side, or we could go for upward, up, down, so in the center here, somewhere in the center, one on the top and one below. So a slightly more traditional turret design, just upside down, so that it is just as it goes around, it will just track the item, and if something is coming in above it, then the top gun will quite happily track the item, with a barrel long enough that it will poke out a little bit. Talking about barrel, we need to protect this barrel a little bit, so we're going to do a little bit of work here just to give the barrel, the main barrel shroud, a protective coating to stop it just being taken out immediately by incoming fire. We'll just make it relatively simple, similar to what we've done on the battle cruiser. I'm not going to go as complex, I don't think, because weight is an issue to a degree on this, but that will just protect the gun a little bit. We'll put a block in there as well, and in there we go. That just evens it up. Not ideal, but it will protect it a little bit. Now I've done that, I'm suddenly feeling that I need to either have that come up there. No, let's have that come in here a little bit, like that. Does that look okay? Yeah, that's not too bad. Maybe the other one there as well. Maybe all three of them like that. So that comes in. It's a little bit snow plow fronted, but we're not going after. We're not. I wasn't really initially after having this as being what should we say? Highly aerodynamic. That's not the priority on this, but now that I've started, it's difficult to stop. I can't stop, I just have to keep going. There we go. Right, okay, so it's a little bit better than just being totally slab-sided as it was, and that's on the front, which is going to be the awkward part as it's coming into attack. We've got a little bit of defense coming into it. Underneath is only a single block still, so that's going to be subject to a fair bit of damage and attack. The rear we might have to make of some lighter material, just not gonna. Yeah, it's very front heavy at the moment. Might have to elongate it out at the back a little bit as well, I'm thinking, just to, once we put the engine and everything near the back. Right, so this secondary guns. Now we can do a pin tool mount as we've done previously. put here, and then have it go through and put the fire controls in the center. That will give us a fair bit of control, and we can do the same but have it going up and down. So if we find the center block, which is just there, and then we're going to need some space. This might get changed for different blocks, but if we have it like that, that 3, we would then need to go along. It's ending up being quite tall. If I go through using that there, would work. We'd end up with a gun underneath here, which has got quite a good machine gun effect underneath. So combining both of those together would be quite nice. Second option is attach it here. Slightly less on the side. But we'd then have a problem of where we're going to put our VTOL stuff. I'm thinking putting the VTOL stuff here and having them stick out this side, and there. Let's just use a wood block at the moment as an example. Wood block, beam, sort of aiming down there on a controller. So sort of somewhere in that region when they're pointing down, and then they would basically angle and move over to this left hand side and face the opposite direction, and the same at the back, somewhere around here, and then they would face the opposite way. So the engines, to put them in here, this is just a mock-up. The engines would be something like that, and then when it goes into its power phase, it would basically go something like that. Right, good side, bad sides about this one. Good side is it doesn't use space internally. The existing Sea Harrier has all of this internal. Bad side is it's all external, therefore it doesn't get any protection. So it will be subject to being hit by missiles, cannon fire, etc. Whereas the existing one, as this all turns, it keeps it all protected and away from harm. So we've got a chance that if this gets hit, it's just going to nosedive straight into the ground because it's lost thrust on that one corner. So that could be a bad point about it. We could put the rear ones inside still. It's only one block difference. Maybe somewhere between. That's a possibility. Put these ones nearer the rear, but inside, so there's a gap on this last one here, and the center ones maybe on there but have a gap somewhere. Yeah, okay, that's potentially possible. And let's assume, as far as enemies go, we're unlikely to have any above us. They're all going to be in front or below. We'll have this go high, so it goes up high, so it's unlikely anything's going to get behind the other side of it. And if this cannon underneath's got a long enough barrel, it will be able to stick through a little bit and shoot it anyway. We'll put a fail safe on it, I think we'll have to. But okay, so let's go for this cannon underneath, which is going to be a fast firing machine gun. So new object, we're going to need a 360 turret, precision. We'll put it just there. Okay, and custom cannon, 6-way connectors. Now, how are we going to have the firing piece? Now, the firing piece is going to have to be, it's effectively upside down. We can either have it as a side mounter, like this. Could be good. Let's go for this and see how it goes, because we've got a bit of space. Except it needs something to mount it on, but if I do like this, will it get confused and not know which way it's supposed to be firing? Potential problem. Okay, let's do, bring this forward. Okay, no, let's take it backwards. We'll do our usual design. Let's not get too original on this design. We might as well just stick with what we know works and work out more complex things on another time. Now, we do want this to be fast firing and have lots of ammo. That's going to be its priority. Now, we're going to lose a lot over the top here. We're going to use an elevation barrel, and it's going to be fairly long. That's 5. We'll give it 6 and 6 recoil. So that will, yeah, that's not too bad. Now let's go down and sort out the bottom sections here. Now, a couple of bits here will be, let's sort out the AI. We'll need a local weapons controller. We'll just go back to editing the hull for a second. So I'm going to put a weapons controller here, and that will have fail-safe on it. I think would be a good idea. Okay, that's a fail-safe, and we must be not going to have any. And we'll put a we're not going to have many shields on this, and we'll have a wireless receiver. There we go. Channel 1. That's good enough. Okay, now down here is going to be just for fire rate. Basically, custom cannon. Manual autoloader. I need to make sure I am editing this. Let's see, let's make sure we go into the spinner. One, two. Could have used a mirror line there, I suppose. 1, 2. Let's see what fire rate. I'm not going to give this any gauge. Just see what fire rate that gives, but without putting anything more on it. So we're getting 2 from each side. And we can put ammo box, actually auto loaders in here, but we might on the ends instead put some something else. Although I don't know, maybe just ammo boxes. More ammo boxes, the better. So what's that giving us? That's giving us a fire rate of 0.1. How many ammo boxes? 12. Let's put some more. Let's just put more ammo boxes in here. This is just going to be ammo boxes, I think. There we go. So now on the top here, that's going to be a bit of armouring, and then we're going to put a few custom cannon bits, some explosive warheads, just to add a little bit in there, and some armour piercing. And then let's just armour this up. Yes, we will be using a bit of metal. Going to be using a fair bit of metal, actually. This is going to add up. Let's put the mirror line on. There we go. It's going to be quite a substantial turret on the end of this. Let's use the that down there, and we might as well have this one go up. I think that'll look reasonable. Yep. That one down, protects the barrel a little bit. Slightly sharper nosed. Yeah, I don't mind that. That's looking reasonable to me. It's got that basic shape that I tend to do. I might just. I can always put something else on the back of it, or I can go with a metal down like this. But then I've got to fill that in, and that's going to be extra weight, so it's not giving any actual benefit other than look. So that will do for that as well. So what did we end up with on that gun? That is reload 0.1, kinetic damage, inaccuracy is 1.8. That's fine, because this is very much just shoot lots in the rough area. It's a machine gun. It's a self-defense and attacking machine gun. It has still got an 80 degree, hasn't it? Yes, 80 degrees. So that will go upside and then turn around to aim at the target. So okay, that's the that part, the main cannon done. We'll give this a little bit more armor. Actually, I'll limit to our armor. We only need to go there. That's just armouring that section. And I've forgotten the mirror line, but hey ho. So I'm armouring in that box, which, yeah, don't need to armour it in. But I think it would be a good idea. We're going to give this some power, so that it can certainly not have a problem with taking off, etc. We'll just put some standard metal blocks in the top here. Right, we'll assume that's going to be okay for the moment, so that's going to have it set up there. Right, next, let's say AI and controllers will go here. So let's put some little control bits here. So we'll put a chair. One, two, three, four, about there. Then the main AI can go here with a left and right slot, with a aerial AI. I was thinking about a naval AI on this, and target prioritization. Yeah, target prioritization. Now, I was thinking maybe aim point selection. But yeah, maybe I won't. Let's see, where are we? Wireless transmitter. So this is only to be used for the machine gun, to be honest. So we will, it's going to be aiming, target prioritization, settle to 0, mainly the big ships. That have AI, range, closer the better. Not really don't want to go for speed. Altitude, doesn't mind altitude a bit. It will go for flying targets if there's a choice. The higher target, and those with propulsion. So we're going to set something like that. So, but its main category is larger the better. So that will set that. That's all it needs for there. We will then need a load of automated control blocks, but we'll sort that out in a minute. Now, next is this whole propulsion idea. Because at the moment, this is pretty heavy to fly up. So we've got two situations. One, from a start, i.e. it's dropped into the water, it needs to be able to take off again. Let's put we'll put there's a couple of little bits I want to just put in here, just to finish off the looks a little bit. Not really necessary, but guess it is. I can't help it. At times, you know, you've got to have the looks correct. I haven't worked out where ammo's going to go yet, but we'll work that one out a little bit later. A bit of armor protection here, I think, but coming up to this, the AI. There we go. Because it's going to be taking hits straight from the front, no doubt, as it's coming in onto a target. Yeah, that looks quite good. I like that. Right, let's sort out this frontal AI first. Now I reckon the front ones we can put them on the outside, but have the rear ones on the inside facing outwards, if that makes sense. We might have them also raised a bit. So let's think this through. We'll have... yeah, this is going to be all metal. We're going to have to give this power. The external part of this has got to be metal. Hasn't got to be. I've just decided it will be. The more armor, the betterer. Because Eyes speaks proper English, as does. Honest. Right, so, okay. We will get this armoured up. I'm just working out if we put that connector there and then have that facing backwards from that point, and the control blocks can just be in this section for it. That will give us... in fact, they need to go in one more just here. We need to be able to face downwards, so that would need to disappear. We're only going to have a 4 block, and if it there, that's right, so that turns there. So what we would do is we create a new precision turn block, which is like that, and then we'll put these on some alloy blocks just so that they are different. Alloy beam. Make it turn backwards. 1, 2, 3. No. I realised I've made a mistake there. Okay, need to get that back out of the water. Can you come out of the water again, please? Thank you. Right, because the controller's got to be... let's see, if at the back... Just working out which direction it could be. If it's at the... It can either turn the front to point up, or it can turn the rear to face down. There's two ways of doing this, actually. Let's try a slightly different idea. Have the controller at the other end. Now it means I can maybe have it a little bit higher. Oops. let's just try this. So we're going to have the controller just here instead, a little higher up. New object, precision turn block, facing backwards that way. And yes, I know it. I haven't put the precision line on, the mirror line. 1, 2, 3, and then we put air jet engines. 1, 2, 3, like that. Yes, that's fine. I'll just repeat that on the opposite side. And then we'll just see how that works with some control blocks. Now the idea being that this will go out the top and point down, rather than the current one goes out the bottom slightly. You'll notice it sticks out. So this is just a slight difference to the existing design. Now, which way did I point that? I pointed that towards the front. I'm pretty sure that was pointed towards the front. But anyway, we didn't point it towards the front. Blocks, lightweight alloy, beam. 1, 2, 3, and a couple of some jet engines. Now we can actually on the external put a bit of protection on these actually, so we'll sort that out once we've got these roughly working. So now if we get a control block just for testing, come on, which way around? Let's put 2 of them in here, because we will eventually need 2. I'll put 2 just at the top, because that possibly might be the best protection. Actually, we'll put one there and one there, and the same on here. So just to test it, what this will do is when the altitude is less than a particular amount, let's say 50 just for the moment, then spin block, rotate to, so there you go, 90 degrees, minus 90. Whoops. And the effective range I want is only going to be about 3. Now we're going to set that down to 0 just for the moment, and then you would have the reverse. So Q, when it's back, when your altitude is greater than 50, or you know, maybe 100. Once you know it's back up, we can do a little bit of working on the exact amounts, but let's say 50 for the moment as well, just to say. So when it's larger than 50, the spin block rotates back to 0. Affection is 3. Test. And that goes like that. So then that would be forcing it forwards. So we'll just duplicate that on here. So obviously it's slightly different. So if altitude less than, I'm going to put it at 50, effective range 3, spin block, rotate 90. Because it's on the opposite side, it needs to be opposite amount. Okay, we'll set that to 0 for the moment, just while so we can get it all balanced up. And then Q here when altitude, it's the altitude, when the altitude is larger than 50. Three, spin block set to 0. Okay, so that's those two main blocks. Now what we can add some armor, because some of this is not to be, maybe not just there, but we could do this. 1, 2, and the same on the other side. We'll make sure that they still turn. And we could actually put some blocks in metal block. We just need a gap of 3 here. Actually, let's put one there. 1, 2, 3. So they can also go up. And then just to test to make sure they still work, if I go there, test. Oops, no, that one was there first. Test. Yep, that goes down quite nicely. And then once we're airborne, go back that way. Excellent. And obviously we don't need, we can fill in some of this down the back here because it's not going to be needed at all. It's just going to be some extra armor. In theory, we only need enough to put don't need those blocks in there. Put proper beams in. Beams, less blocks, and also they're better anyway. So that will hold that in position. So a little bit more secure. Let's see what next. And then what we can do is be sneaky to give it a little bit of protection from the front. Why don't I just get the mirror line working on here again? Be a lot easier. Thank you. Right. Silly boy Pike. Right. Come on, there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right there, they just give it a little bit of protection from the front. So as we're closing in, so the side still is going to be a bit open in this particular section. You know, bit of a problem with some areas. Right, okay, next one, the rear. Now the rear is going to be a little bigger, and it's going to work in the opposite, same sort of way. The connector's going to be here, but we're going to have a 5 block, I think, going up and down. Might even just take that one out there, put that one in, and just see how this. Just working this out, we can either have it here going along this edge in a similar way, so it's just this is blocking it off. 1, 2, there we go, and it comes out the top, and we can have this actually, yeah, this could be blockaded up quite nicely there. So we're going to have more engines on the rear than the front. The front's just there for a bit of stabilisation. The rear is the powers to also propel it forwards, and we might change the angle so at the down it doesn't do 90 degrees. It does a slightly less degree so that it balances going up. That's my thoughts anyway at this second, and that's too close. That won't work there. It needs to be this position. Right, up to 3. New object. Spin block, precision spin block. We'll have it facing backwards. Just there. And then we'll have our alloy blocks on here. But we're going to have more of them. And I've not left room for any ruddy engines. Unless, of course, I put the engines on the outside. Or I have to put this right in the very centre. Don't like that though. Okay, let me just have a think of this. There is one other place I can put this. Okay. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Slightly, yeah, it's a slightly weird shape, but that's fine. Jet engines. There we go. Now they're a little bit more protected now this time. So they've got 5. They've got a gap out the back, so they can go through. I might just put some blocks, put something in here, just to give it an extra protection. When they turn up, that's the next bit I need to work out. Is how the controllers work here. Because automated control block. I obviously can't put them there because they'll muck up. And from memory, I can't put control blocks on a turret, which is somewhat annoying. Okay. So choices are can't put them in the center. Can put one in the center, but I can't put both of them in the center. The reasoning behind that is I can have one that sets them both to 0. That could be one control block. But they're going to be at different -90 +90s to go for the angle we need for takeoff. That's got to be a different angle. I might be able to. Let's think this through. If I put them on the top, that's potentially okay. If I put it here, it will block the power of that engine. The other alternatives are that I extend this all out, one at the rear, and make these blocks go there. But I like this. This is quite nice and compact. Okay, I'm going to try putting one right on the top here. And if I get the range right, and then the same on this side, I'm just going to test this out. And then this one, where are we level with? Just here. I'm going to put one here that does both of them for the set to 0. So here, if I go here, if altitude less than my 50, what did I say? Range of, we'll start with 3. Now this is where we got to get the range just perfect. Spin block, rotate to, let's try 90. I think this first ones might be minus 90. No, okay, let's try 4. There we go. Right, so this one, range of 4, altitude greater than 50. Spin block, rotate 90. Yes, it doesn't do it, which is perfect. Right, so let's just set these bound to 0. And we might change that 90 minus 90. And this one is going to be when altitude greater than, I've set those wrong, is greater than 50. Effective range is going to be 3. Spin blocks, rotate to 0. Okay, and I put these the wrong way around. Oh no, that is less than. Did I do this one? Yeah, that was the wrong way around. There we go. Right, so let's now do the same on this side. Okay, so what are we left with to do now on here? Basically, I think all we're left with really is to sort out the engines, some power for this, because obviously we need some power, and get it flying. Frankly, I think that's where we're down to. Those sort of a level of because it's quite heavy. We might need some more thrusters or engines, just giving a little bit of thrust and some balancing for that side. So what I'm going to do first of all is get an engine in here. We don't need much power. Power is not the biggest problem we have. Of all the problems we've got, power is we haven't got a lot of engines, etc. So we'll just go for a fairly simple design. Right, is that saying? Yep, that's fine. He's actually giving me a figure. We'll just try this sort of really basic design. Obviously we haven't got enough, we haven't got room to put a lot of things. This was the only problem with this particular design, is you run out of bloody room, because it's sort of fit in things where you can in the end. Yes, I've forgotten the mirror line again. Put some superchargers in some of the key bits, but put one in there and there, and let's just put fuel tanks everywhere else. See how much power we get out of this. I'm not expecting a huge amount. There's a few bits I need to do yet. We've got to work out some ammo, some ammo processing and a few bits like that, but nothing critical as such. Okay, so that's all of our... Is there one down there? Yeah, there should be one down there. Okay, so there's a couple of points missing there, but we got up to 2,000 power. That's more than enough at the moment. I can always put some more jets on the rear of this if it needs it, which it might well do. It might need just a bit more oomph as such. We can't put one there because that was got to turn. So as you can see, those power is coming out there quite nicely. They are coming out there rather nicely. Excellent. I'm liking that so far. That's reasonable. Now, as I say, I'm not expecting, if I go like this, I'm not expecting that to fly. No. Okay, so let me sort out the aerodynamics on this now, and I will be back once I've got this flying. So see you in a short bit, hopefully, and we'll see what changes I've had to make this puppy fly. And welcome back, and as you can see, we have filled out a little bit of the hull. I've had to use quite a few ailerons to get roll stability on it. With the various positions of thrusters, it makes it very unstable in the roll, which is a big minus side at this time, but you know, that's one of those small items we have to pay. So I've suddenly seen a big open possible weakness, sorry. So just got to fill that in, because we don't want a great big hole pointing through the side to where our ammo barrels are, so it's best if I just fill that up. That's fine. That's a bit better. Yeah, didn't like that being quite so open. Just make sure there's anything else. Yeah, that should be fine. Okay, that was not a good little open thing. So anyway, we got the VTOL, slightly dartish as well, arrow or dart. The gun, I did try making the gun a little longer, higher gauge. What I found is, because this is quite fast, the gun could not aim in time. The larger you make the gun, the slower it is to aim. The machine guns were quite good, but obviously a low power, and added some basic missiles on the rear. So let's see it from the starting point. So if I come off of here, you'll see that it does a nice high lift and then straight up, which is quite nice. Now goes to quite a nice height. I'll come off the guns, make sure I'm not going to be controlling anything. It does go high in the first climb. It should try and go around about 200 meters, but it tends to seem to go a little bit lower than that. I did try to adjust it. It does gradually settle down to a slightly lower altitude eventually. So we'll give it a little bit of a combat test. So if we put in the good old standard Marauder, which should have set up back there. Now it does occasionally have a bit of a problem in the turn, so we've got some balloons that will deploy if it does go in the water. you know, just to help it out to right it, because with these high angle jets, what can sometimes happen is it basically the jets force it over. So here we are, we're coming around at a reasonable turn, and I might go and see this from the point of view of the Marauder if it goes through the first turn. So it's coming around nicely, comes around, there's the gun aiming. You can see it takes a little while for it to get in. There's a fair old rate of fire it's got coming in there, and then when it gets a little closer, the machine gun basically cuts in as well. Now the main gun will have just gone off, so I'll go down now to see what's happening from the Marauder's point of view. Now it should go off now. It does have to pass over the top for that gun to make sure. It should now go out, turn around, and then come back in again. It's not a single shot. Oh, I put some, there's those simple missiles. They're more for fun than effect. I think against a Onyx watch they wouldn't be very effective. Now it's turning around at the same time it would be reloading, so that gives it a bit of time to reload. This hasn't got a high alpha damage. It's more sustained damage. It's also not really operational on its own. You'd put a few of these together, or they would supplant the standard Sea Harrier and or one of the other missile armed ships. So it's just to get a bit of cannon fire out onto ships that are susceptible to it. So to get some high penetrating armor. Here it comes in again, and we should have plenty of shots coming in. Not bad, not bad. And now I might try and get a little bit more power in some of those shots, or get the accuracy up a bit. I did try to increase the accuracy and just found that it wasn't always shooting. So I'm going to try and possibly put some HE into some of the into the gun, just get it a little bit more explosive when it hits. But it's doing its job. It is hitting it. I've seen it take on a Telemachus without any issues, so it certainly does do the job, and can take on ships, and it's just a bit of fun adding in that cannon fire to it when it's coming around. So we'll see it just on one more turn, and then hopefully it should be fit. If it doesn't go into the water, yeah, it's turned okay this time. As I say, occasionally on those turns it's got a little bit damaged and turned all the way over. So there we go, some more fire coming in. Not bad at all. Okay, so that's the new Sea Harrier Mk2. I'll possibly replace a couple of the current Sea Harriers with one of these, or a couple of these. See how it fares against the Onyx watch in the carrier fleet next time they fight up. Any comments? Please leave them below. I'll mostly work on this a little bit before it goes live, but I'm happy with it to a degree at the moment. No real problems as such. Maybe it could do with a little bit more power, just to give that killing blow, but it's quite good fun, and it's a slightly different style ship to all of the missiles that we have flying around at the moment for most of my ships. Still aimed at slightly larger, slower ships, but it certainly isn't bad, and it's a bit of fun and fulfilled the design requirements I came up with. So hope you enjoy it. Please click that like button and leave any comments, but until next time, have fun.